If you are feeling completely stressed out and overwhelmed and unable to get anything done, stay tuned because today we're going to talk all about how to actually get things accomplished. Welcome to another video. For those of you who are new, my name is Nena and I'm a life coach that specializes in personal development. At our channel, we talk about everything having to do with life transformation and our emotional well-being. So if you aren't already a subscriber, please take a moment to become one because we definitely want you to be a part of our family. So like I said, today we're going to be talking all about feeling completely stressed out and overwhelmed by all the things that we need to get accomplished. So let's dive right in, figure out what it is that we need to be doing and why exactly that's not happening. So when we feel this degree of anxiety and stress over everything that needs to get done, the first thing that we need to do is to get it all down on paper. So take a good 5 to 10 minutes to list out all these things that are in the back of our minds. So we want to think about all those things that we need to actually get accomplished and all the things that are really, kind of hanging out in the background that we keep thinking about. So once we've taken a good enough amount of time to think of everything that could be making us feel overwhelmed right now, we're going to start removing some items. So when we look at this list, the first thing we're going to take away are all the things that are not actually our problem or not actually in our control. Now, usually when I say that, the first response is to get a little defensive and think that, well, I really need to take care of all of these things. But let's actually look at this from a more critical eye. Are these really all things that you need to specifically take care of? Or are these things that are just causing mental clutter? Are these things we have any degree of control over? If there are issues that are taking up space in our life that we can't actually take action on, we want to be aware of that and just remove that from our list altogether. The next thing we want to look for are things on our list that don't have a time constraint. So if there are things that could be taken care of at a later time, let's go ahead and remove them from the list, because sometimes just having them on the list makes us feel overwhelmed when really it's not a pressing issue. And the last thing that we want to take off our list are things that we don't really feel that passionate about anymore. So these are things that kind of seem to make it onto every single to-do list that we have. So if we, for example, had some kind of New Year's resolution that we're going to learn how to play piano or learn conversational French, and we feel a little guilty that we haven't done that, we may continuously put it on a list of things to do. But realistically, if we haven't gotten to them at this point, probably we're really not that passionate about it. If they had been important enough, you would have gotten started on them. So these are things that we can safely remove, at least for the time being, from the list, because we really need that list to be as small as possible. Now here I'm going to give a little disclaimer that we don't want to use this as an opportunity to toss out things that have to do with our emotional well-being or our physical health, like our diet or exercise or meditation or getting enough sleep, anything like that. We want to make sure that we do make time for, so we can learn how to be more efficient with these things, but these are things that do have extreme importance in our life. So before we come up with our plan of action of actually getting these things accomplished, we want to think about why we didn't do these things in the first place. So number one, are we just lazy? We don't want to admit that sometimes, but if that is actually the case, it's something, to be aware of. Another thing to consider is, are we really horrible with time management and sorting out priorities? A lot of times we actually have good intentions, but we have a very poor system of getting things done. And I was certainly one of those people, and that is something I still struggle with to this day. Another really common thing that can be happening is we feel so completely overwhelmed with the amount of things that we need to get done that we are like a deer in the headlights. We cannot take any kind of action at all. We kind of get frozen. And another thing that could be happening is that there is a lot of fear, anxiety, or pain associated with whatever task that we have to handle. Now, if this is the case for you, don't worry, it can certainly be addressed. And I'm going to actually link down a resource for you, which is a video that we just did about avoiding issues and problems in our life. So that can hopefully be of assistance to you. So now we need to actually start to get things accomplished. So the first thing we're going to have to do here is to check our inner dialogue. What are we telling ourselves? Are we telling ourselves on a regular basis that we have so much to do, that there's not enough time to do it, and how stressed out we are? We want to think about what we're really telling ourselves, because our subconscious is always listening. If we're telling ourselves we have way too much to handle, then we're going to really start to believe we have way too much to handle. So we want to get a grip on our inner dialogue and make sure the things that we're really telling ourselves are uplifting and actually helpful to us and not making the process more difficult. The second thing we can do is go back to our list and see if there are any things that we could get help or assistance with, or we could actually delegate to someone else altogether. Once we've determined these factors, we can make a priority list. And once we have our priority list, we need to chunk it down. We don't want to give ourselves these enormous tasks that we are feeling overwhelmed just looking at. We want to break them into little bite-sized pieces that we can take action on right away. We also need to decide what our attitude is going to be about this ahead of time. So this goes hand in hand with our inner dialogue. We want to tell ourselves that this is actually going to be a fun and pleasant experience and really try to make it be so. So, listen to music or something that I do, and it seems so silly, but I have a favorite t-shirt. I like to put on my favorite t-shirt. It just puts me in a good mood. So anything that you can do to make the experience as pleasant as possible, you want to go ahead and do all those things. And again, decide on your attitude ahead of time. Don't let yourself get into a negative space. Now, the last step is optional for some people, but definitely not for me, and that is to have some kind of established reward in place. So you will tell yourself, once you complete all these tasks, you can take that bubble bath or go on a hike or go to the movies or, have something really delicious to eat. Whatever motivates you, you want to go ahead and give yourself that little incentive beforehand so you are working towards that goal. Sometimes it becomes more of a priority to get that reward than to actually do the task, which is fine because the task has to get done anyway. And if we think about it, really attitude is everything. These tasks have to get done whether we have a good attitude or a bad attitude about it. These things can be happy and fun if we make it that way, or we can make it miserable. And a lot of times we really make it miserable for ourselves. Our happiness can't be contingent on whether or not we are doing things that we actually enjoy. It's a lot easier to be happy when we're doing things that we enjoy, but we need to think about strategies to make the things that are less pleasant a little bit more palatable for us and a little more fun. And remember that we can be happy and we can have a positive attitude even when we're doing the things that aren't as desirable. And the last thing that we have to remember is to always practice great self-care and be checking in with ourselves emotionally so that we don't get this stressed out in the first place. I'm going to link one more video down below, and that is how to check in with yourself using the 8 dimensions of wellness. And that's something you should just do from time to time to just make sure you never get to that complete point of overwhelm. So get out there, be productive, and have fun with it. I hope this video was helpful to you, and if it was, please like it and share it with someone else who may need to hear this message today. Also, again, if you aren't already part of our community, please take a moment to become a subscriber, because we definitely want you to be part of our family. And I thank you so much for spending time with me today. I will see you soon.